which guess that smoothly goes into our second controversial topic discussion for today: cultural appropriation.
Ah,
Yeah.
I have a point of view on this that
Ooh.
people don't often talk about.
Okay.
I think, oh man, this might get me in trouble. I think,
Get us in trouble. Got through half the list.
I think black people get away with cultural appropriation way more than any other group.
Wow.
And I just don't think it's categorized. You know what I mean? I think, for example, in Kendrick Lamar, he has like this sort of theme in which he has like another alter ego, I guess, like Kung Fu Kenny,
Oh yeah.
in which uses like the traditional like Asian garb or whatever, and that happens a lot throughout rap. Wu-Tang, you know what I mean? Like, where is it? What is the difference between their appreciation and their appropriation of it? Because it goes back deep into hip hop as a theme, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I've seen Asian videos of like Asians like trying to like make their hair nappy, it's like, okay, obviously that's appropriation. However, what if they're doing it to sort of like be like us, right? What if they're not trying to claim it for themselves, which is usually how it works?
Yeah.
Like, what if they're actually just saying like, oh, this is my homage to black people, instead of trying to use it as like blackface or something like that, which could get muddy because people don't like giving credit to black people.
Don't like that.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that when black people do it, it's a little more obvious that it's like not our culture.
Mm.
So maybe we try to make it clearer to be an homage, but I still feel like there are tons of things in Asian cultures that we love, like black people always gravitate towards, like whether it's their clothing or I think a big thing would probably be like anime. I feel like that's such a huge thing in the black community that's not really talked about. Obviously, I'm not trying to claim it as our own, but like I feel like it's so popular, I guess. And I feel like black people sort of made it more popular. You know, we didn't you know what I mean? Like because of the fact that we're all watching the same things, I feel like we sort of that's just we can do that. We can make things popular. It's just part of the culture. You know what I mean? So I feel like we make everything look fun. I think that just comes with it. Like even if you go straight up to Africa, like we make stuff look fun. You don't have to tell us, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like usually when people think of culture appropriation, they think of people ripping off of black people, which is definitely true and prevalent. I just don't think it's as talked about that black people also do the same thing. And that should probably be discussed as well. But I feel like we've already talked about what people have already talked about culture appropriation and why it's harmful and why it should obviously be stopped. But I do think there's enough blame to go, not equally, but there's enough blame to go around for every race group, even though it's not necessarily like a one-to-one correlation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real good. That's real good. I like that. Yeah. When you originally said that black people do it all the time, then I was like, whoa. But then I started thinking, and I was like, okay. And my rebuttal was going to be, if you're saying like how we may appropriate white people with like straightening our hair and stuff like that, I was about to rebuttal and say like, well, that's because back then they were making us do that, you know. So that's different. And now we're going how we want. We're naturally like curly hair and stuff like that. But and now nobody's forcing them to become like us, but now they're trying to come over to our turf and it's different. I'm like, hold up, no, because we were trying to do this back in the day, and y'all were calling it dreadlocks because it was dreadful and stuff like that. You know, like all of that. Now y'all want to start getting locks. It's like, no, well, what happened to that energy from back then? However, these aren't the same people from back then. This is a whole different generation who does appreciate that. So that's also the thing too. But
because I feel like previous generations raised this one, so they're very familiar with what wasn't okay or what wasn't okay, right? It wasn't until we started appreciating ourselves more that they wanted to hop on the same wave. So yes, they are not responsible for I guess like making it unpopular or saying like, oh, such and such is ghetto. But for example, right, like I think perfect example is the locks, right? Now more than ever, I have been seeing white people with locks, and I don't understand why. Like to me, it doesn't work for their hair. I feel like they have to put in more work for their hair texture in order for it to actually like lock up, because it's already like straight and loose, which is what they've already had for decades. It's literally only recently that we've been seeing white women with braids even, right? That was not a thing before. You could easily apply the same logic. Like, this was not something that you guys were doing before. So why now, when we want to finally claim it as our own, as with the N-word, that it's all of a sudden territory for everyone? You know what I mean? But even though it wasn't something that they had like oppressed people with or whatever, they still understood the implications before. It's literally only within a few years that it's suddenly become like a thing that's actually popular. So you could say that people of this generation are still quite aware of what it used to be and what it is now, and still want to take it up as your own.
That's true. Like, even like at the end of J. Cole's music video, Middle Child, I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where the woman went in and she was buying baby hairs and stuff. I was like, oh shoot, that's the thing. But at the same time, I was also wondering, like, because I think that a term, I don't know if you coined it just now as you were speaking, free flow, or if it's already a thing. But you're pretty much like saying, what's the difference between appreciation and appropriation? I was like, that's really good. I really like that, because now there's like, because I've been thinking about like Kim Kardashian, and yeah, a lot of people are talking about that, and she's married to a black dude. Not that means much, but you know, and then people, apparently a lot of people not even inviting him to the to the cookout. Then just was talking about he's in a sunken place. So I like Kanye personally. I still, you know, not that I respect and appreciate everything that he does, but it's like, especially since Jamila, she watches the Kardashian show, and so she gets like an inside look at a lot of them. A lot of previous things that I thought about them, she's like clarified a lot of things. I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't hate Kim as much as I used to. I used to really not like her. Now I'm like, oh, I didn't know she was like this. Oh, I didn't know she was like this. Okay, fair. All right, I guess I could rock with this. But still, like, she's like like, how do we know when she's appreciating versus when she's like appropriating? Is it like one and the same kind of thing? And I think that you also hit the point when you said like we don't like to give credit, because that's another thing. Like I think, was it Bo Derek with the hair? You know, like she had some type of hairstyle, and she called it like a Bo Derek hairstyle or something like that. I forgot, but it was named. She pretty much was claiming that it was named after a white woman that started it, whatever. When in actuality, it was a hairstyle that black people had for years. It probably was just a common, like, you know, mistake, you know, and I know that they apologize a lot too for like for when they feel like they've appropriated and they didn't know, like they just don't pay attention like that. But yeah. And even on top of that, like going into like the dark tans and everything, I don't like that. Like I personally think that doesn't look right on them, just like with the braids and all of that. But Yeah. All right. So
My thing with the Kardashians is that I don't believe nothing they say at all, because their actions show themselves to be a pattern, and it's just like they know what is going to get them back into the mainstream talk again. Like they know exactly what people will start talking about, and this is exactly how they've built their brand, by benefiting off of Black culture and appropriating it, because and then like they've taken all the attributes of Black culture because they know once again that we can make things poppin'. So they say, "Oh, I like that." They take it and they don't tell us where they got it from.
wow.
They don't say nothing. They know exactly where they got it from, or they have seen it before, and they don't attribute like proper credit to it. You know what I mean? So like, especially because Kim Kardashian is in the fashion scene, right? At least with all different types of styles and stuff like that. To me, she has her ear to the streets. She knows exactly what is popping or what has the potential to pop, right? Like she is a marketer above all else, and that I'll give her. However, you cannot tell me she didn't know this was appropriating or that wasn't appropriating. She knows how to. She knows, or she thinks she knows how to walk that line, right? And she knows exactly what's going to garner attention. Whether or not that attention is bad or not is none of her concern, in my opinion. She knows what's going to work in order for her to get these sales. And if people have to be talking her name and throwing dirt on her name, she's going to do it. It does not matter. Like, think about who her mother is. Her mother popularized her own sex tape. She knows no bounds. These people are out here to get money. They are for the bag. No one is going to tell me she didn't know what she was doing. She has a whole team, probably multiple teams, trying to figure out, okay, what can we do next to make sure that this next sale goes up or build her brand or something. Like, there's multiple people who see this, and I assure you, there's probably some Black people on her team who know exactly what's going to pop. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way her and her whole team are seeing these things and saying like, I don't know.
That's what I was.
They might do that for some things, but not for everything.
Yeah.
They know what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, cause I was thinking about that even like last night, especially now on Twitter. That's like really trending with all this Taylor Swift stuff going on, which is a whole other controversial thing. Another controversial topic: did Taylor Swift make Kanye famous? Come on now. Somebody's so bad with that. Like, are you kidding me?
End that really quick. Let's end that really quick. To some people, she was a good country singer. After Kanye did that whole thing and there was that whole beef or whatever, she became America's little baby girl.
That's right.
And she ascended to heights after that. One could easily argue that he then made her more popular, which then granted her more fame.
Yeah.
Strictly looking at that alone, like, yes, you could say, like, oh, she was already doing this on her own. She was already doing this on her own, blah, blah, blah. To a certain extent, to certain groups, she is famous. She was already famous, right? And even the term famous is subjective, depending on who you're talking to. But she was then made more popular, or at least more well-known, to a much larger group because Kanye was already at a certain status. So because of the connection or the association with the two of them and what he did being so outrageous, it then shut her up for sure. So you could then say she was made famous to a larger group of people. Plain and simple.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, my man's Kanye, look at the sales for college. Look at the sales for graduation. Like, all of come on. He was on the scene from the beginning, and for the less pigmented that just weren't aware about him back then, so you like that's exactly what it is. But anyway, so going back to the topic at hand, yeah, like with all this stuff going on with like the Kardashian family and everything, like I was thinking like, oh well, yeah, I feel like there's no way that they don't know what people are saying about them, especially since Kim be on Twitter. She has to see, like like yeah, like like I feel like she sees a lot of her like tweets and people like saying things about her. They'll like people are ruthless on Twitter. They'll mention her and they'll like you're tanning. Look how you're doing this. Look how you're doing that. And so it's like she has to see it and probably put some thought behind it. Like yo, I should probably chill out. But again, like
Right.
Julia was telling me, like she doesn't think that she sees as much and everything, and she just can't stop like everything that she's doing. And of course, there's arguments like, no, she's not even like completely white. She's Armenian or whatever. And it's just like,
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I knew that.
One second. You're not about to tell me that at the very least,
Yeah.
Armenian isn't white passing. Armenian to me is just another way of saying white. Like when you're talking about race itself, like race itself, you're talking about just race itself. That's white people. You know what I mean? Like yes, the location may be different, but it's still white people. You know what I mean? Like, what are you really saying right now? It's a different strain of white. Okay, it's still white. You know what I mean?
Jesus was.
Man.
No, I just threw that one out there. Just wanted to be funny. We're not going to get into that one. Yeah, I mean,
that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. There's nuance. He just wasn't white. We'll say that.
Okay, I'll go with that.
I'd say he just wasn't white.
Right.
Blue-eyed, none of that. That's what I'd say.